What if the greatest empire in history wasn't Rome? What if there was one even richer, even larger, and far more advanced? One that ruled nearly half the known world, and then vanished from memory. Before Rome carved its legacy into stone, before Caesar dreamed of conquest, and long before the Colosseum cast its first shadow, there was another empire. One that ruled over the known world. One that connected continents, cultures, and kings. And yet, most people don't even remember its name. It was richer than Rome. It was bigger than Rome. And in many ways, it was smarter than Rome. This is the story of the Achaemenid Persian Empire, the forgotten superpower that reigned supreme and whose legacy shaped civilizations to come. Welcome to The Hidden Record, where we dig up the stories history tried to bury.
To understand the power of the Persian Empire, we have to travel back in time, far before the founding of Rome. In the 6th century BCE, the world was divided. Small kingdoms, nomadic tribes, scattered city-states. But in the heart of what is now modern-day Iran, a leader emerged from the shadows. Cyrus the Great. He wasn't just a conqueror, he was a strategist, a unifier, a visionary. Under his leadership, the Persians overthrew the powerful Median Empire, then swiftly absorbed the Lydians and the Babylonians. But what made Cyrus different wasn't just military might, it was how he treated the people he conquered. He respected local customs, he allowed religious freedom, he even freed enslaved populations, including the Jews exiled in Babylon. By the time he died, Cyrus had created the largest empire the world had ever seen. Founded by Cyrus and expanded by Cambyses and Darius, became the first true superpower of the ancient world. At its peak, it stretched from the Balkans and Eastern Europe to the Indus Valley in the east. It governed more than 44% of the world's population, a record that remains unmatched. And they didn't rule through fear alone. They built systems. The empire was divided into regions called satrapies, each governed by a satrap, a trusted local administrator. These satraps collected taxes, maintained order, and managed infrastructure, all while reporting to the king. A vast network of roads, including the legendary Royal Road, allowed messages to travel across the empire in days. They introduced standardized coinage, implemented a fair tax system, and maintained a standing army known as the Immortals, 10,000 elite soldiers ready to fight at a moment's notice. This was more than an empire. It was an engineered machine of governance. Long before Rome had aqueducts or paved roads, Persia had built canals, connecting the Nile to the Red Sea. They pioneered systems of record-keeping, law, and communication, innovations that influenced generations to come. Under Darius the Great, the empire flourished even further. He introduced the first known postal system. He created Persepolis, a capital that dazzled with its architecture, reliefs, and art. Their religion, Zoroastrianism, influenced later Abrahamic faiths, with its ideas of good versus evil, heaven and hell, and free will. But unlike many ancient rulers, the Persians didn't force their beliefs on others. They practiced religious tolerance at a time when most empires demanded total submission. In many ways, Persia was centuries ahead of its time. Now let's compare. At its height, the Roman Empire covered around 5 million square kilometers. The Achaemenid Empire, nearly 8 million. Rome is often celebrated for its roads, its law, and its military discipline, but Persia did it first. They built faster roads. They had a centralized bureaucracy. And while Rome ruled with an iron fist, Persia ruled with adaptability. They allowed conquered peoples to maintain their culture, speak their language, and worship freely. Even Alexander the Great, after conquering Persia, adopted many of their customs, because even he recognized the brilliance of the empire he had destroyed.
So why do we remember Rome and not Persia? One reason? Greece. Most of what we know about Persia comes from Greek historians, especially Herodotus. And to the Greeks, Persia was the enemy. The Greco-Persian Wars, including the Battle of Thermopylae, painted the Persians as barbaric, godless tyrants. Greek storytelling made heroes of Spartans and villains of Persians. But history is written by the victors, and when Rome adopted Greek culture, it also inherited its prejudices. What we're left with is a one-sided image of a complex civilization. In 330 BCE, Alexander the Great invaded Persia. Though outnumbered, his military genius overwhelmed the Persian forces. He marched into Persepolis, the jewel of the empire, and burned it to the ground. Some say he did it to send a message. Others believe he regretted it, but the damage was done. The Achaemenid Empire crumbled. Its archives were destroyed, its temples looted, its memory slowly erased by centuries of conquest and cultural rewriting. Yet traces of its greatness remained, hidden in stone, buried in tablets, echoed in systems later empires would adopt. The Persian legacy didn't die. It evolved. Their concepts of governance influenced the Islamic caliphates. Their architecture inspired future empires. From the Ottomans to the Mughals, their religion planted seeds in the foundations of Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. And their approach to multicultural administration remains a blueprint for unity in diversity. Today, modern Iran still honors Cyrus the Great as a founding father, and archaeologists continue to uncover the marvels of this ancient superpower. History remembers what it wants, but here at the Hidden Record, we remember what matters. If you enjoyed this journey into a forgotten empire, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us for more stories buried by time. Because the past isn't dead, it's just hidden.